Today is the day that we are celebrating STEM Crew Magazine launch of winter issue. So if many of y'all don't know, yes, if many of y'all don't know, we've been going through different, quarterly. This is a quarterly magazine. And so the first one came out, actually, the fall one came out in November, which was STEM Day, National STEM Day. So what better way for the winter issue to come during National Engineers Week? And so I have my guests today, which are featured in the magazine as well. And so I'm excited to have them because what we're going to do is, interview style. I don't know if many of y'all know, my name is Tiffany Teachy, and I have also a radio station, which is called Read It Right Radio Show. So many have been interviewed. Some that's in the magazine have been interviewed or will be interviewed on there. And so that's a way to get the platform out there of trying to get STEM. And so this STEM Crew magazine is exciting opportunity to feature and highlight our different STEM advocates, educators, like all of that, to try to encourage our kids to get into the STEM. And if in case you don't know what STEM is, it's science, technology, engineering, math. I'm good for the acronyms. It comes with the territory with the job itself. And so I'm an engineer. So I'm just excited to share STEM. And so I'm excited to have my guests here. And so if each of y'all could introduce yourself and tell us what you do. And if Naomi, you want to start first, you can, or either Dr. Christopher, either one.
Well, thank you so much for having us. I'm excited for this issue to launch. I'm Naomi Meredith. I am a former classroom teacher turned K through 5 STEM teacher and now current K through 5 STEM coach. And I create curriculum, resources, workshops and courses for teachers who are interested in implementing elementary STEM. And then also I host 2 podcasts. My teacher podcast is the Elementary STEM Coach, and my kid podcast is the STEM Career Quest podcast.
Love it. Love it. Okay, Dr. Christopher, go for it.
All right, my name is Dr. Robles, Christopher Robles. Everybody just calls me Robles or Chris for short. But nonetheless, I am the founder and CEO of Math and More. Math and More is an acute mathematics firm aimed to debunk the myth of I'm not a math person. We created Math and More, or I created Math and More to allow for access within math education, because as you all very well know, Miss Tiffany, you can't be an engineer without having the fundamental skills of mathematics. So we wanted to create an avenue or platform and a space for students to grapple with math and be okay with saying, I don't get this, I don't understand it, I don't feel for this. And that's okay. And that's what we do here. We work with the remediation of mathematics, creating that intervention space, creating that one-on-one, that small group instruction. So that's essentially what we do here. So thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for having me here.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I'm excited because both of y'all bring different, perspectives of it, from the math to the STEM coach. So I'm excited for this discussion so they can see what y'all do and put it out there. So let's start with, what inspired you to pursue STEM, and how do you inspire others in your field?
So I was, like I mentioned before, a classroom teacher for 6 years. And while I was teaching 3rd grade, I was really getting into technology and implementing that in my instruction, and also hands-on learning, and saw how powerful that was with students. And I'm sure that you see that with math as well, Dr. Robles, but saw that impact and how it was really powerful with students. And so I transitioned into a K through 5 STEM teaching role where I was able to teach all the students in my building, and also was given a brand new classroom with limited supplies, 0 curriculum. And so really from there, just built up a whole entire program, and also sharing my resources and tips and tricks with other teachers outside of my building. And it really took off and grew from there. So definitely believe that STEM is super powerful. For students, whether they go into those STEM fields, which we definitely would love, but also those soft skills as well, and building that creativity and collaboration. So definitely is something I'm very, very passionate about, and I'm always thinking about. So definitely see the power in that.
Love it. Love it. All right.
And I came into the field because I'll be totally honest, and I share this as a vulnerability moment, especially with my kids. That's how I make a connection. Literacy in English really was not my thing when I was in school. I couldn't. I was in fourth grade, and I had a teacher who pulled me to the side one time and was just like, "Robles, Chris, this is not this is not your work." And she called me out because I literally just rewrote the back of the summary of the book. So, in school, you go to the book and the summary is on the back of the book, and they, book reports and things like that. I'm part of that generation. We actually open books and things like that. She was just like, "This is the summary from the back of the book." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And it was at that moment that my teacher understood that there was a deficit and a need to support me in a way that was going to not deter me from learning, but have an opportunity for me to say, "Well, what do you like to do?" It wasn't just punitive. It wasn't just, "Oh, well, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing," but it was an opportunity for her to understand that as an English teacher, this is not my strong suit. So she tapped into my ability to solve problems and word problems, and just understood that numeracy was something that I enjoyed versus something that English, which was something that I was struggling with. So she used that as a tool to help me to be successful. So honestly, that's how I got into the love for mathematics. And being able to inspire other people to say, "Hey, it's okay to, that is not necessarily a area of love for you, because it wasn't always easy for me. And now that it has become easy, let me help you understand, and let me help pave the way so that way you too can enjoy this area of mathematics."
Love it. Love it. Now talk about it. Y'all are featured in a magazine. So I'm excited. I know y'all like, oh, but I know people was like, "Oh, let's sign up, let's sign up." But I'm gonna let you know, we're releasing it now. We're gonna release it. I just wanted to at least get the hype up and get people to sign up. But if, in case people don't know, as we're releasing it, as we go through this discussion, and afterwards, it is www.stemcrewmagazine.com. And this is the winter issue. And if you haven't, you'll get access to the fall issue. If you missed out on that, when you click that button, you'll be able to also get a copy of the fall one. And so I'm excited to have at least some of the features in there. We have about 21 featured in here, you guys. And so I'm excited for them to jump on and say, why are y'all excited about being part of the STEM Crew magazine? So talk to us, talk to the people. Why are you excited about being featured?
Go ahead, Naomi.
I'm super excited because definitely we need all hands on deck when it comes to empowering our students and providing those different resources and avenues, whether it's in STEM education, mathematics, science, all of those different fields. And so it's really exciting just to bring together all of these experts in that space, and being a part of that community where we're reaching out and we want to help you and we want to help our kids of the future. So I'm really excited to be a part of this whole panel and being in the magazine. And also for me, learning from other people that I haven't met before, which is extremely exciting as well, building those connections. So love, I think might be the first magazine I've seen. Not 100% sure it is.
Love it. Love it. Well, I'm glad when you could be the first. It's going to be plenty more magazines, but to say that you were the first in this one, I love it, Naomi. So,
Yes.
so talk to us.
My excitement comes from the fact that I am paving the way for other Black and brown children to grapple with something that historically and systematically has been an area that they say, "I cannot do this." So Math and More's aim, focus, goal, vision, and mission is to debunk the myth of "I'm not a math person." For years, people keep saying, "Oh, that's that new math. I don't know this math." And, "Oh, this is not." So like, imagine going home as a student, as a scholar who has just sat in a classroom for 6, 7 hours in a day. They have questions with their homework, and their parents say, "Oh, I don't know about nothing about this new math, that algebra," that literally sticks in their head. So now their parents are not math people. They don't have access to help with their homework. And now they're just stuck. So then they come back to school without their homework complete. Now, when it comes to career day, let's fast forward. They're not looking at STEM careers. They're not looking at these, oh, well, I can't do this. I can't do that. Now, fast forward. Now they're going to college. Now they're getting ready to pick a major. Now they're not picking the majors that are STEM field or STEM oriented or anything with mathematics because they've their entire life been told that this is not something that they do. So I am literally excited and overwhelmed with joy to be able to be a part of something that I can put in front of children and say, no, regardless of what you do, regardless of where you go, you are represented and you can access this essential skill, which is mathematics, which is something that is fun and enjoying and lovable. Like if you really do take the time to engage with it, it is something that it can be fun.
Mm-hmm. That's it. I think that's the biggest piece is when we talk to the kids, tell them it's fun, but showing them, getting the hands-on activities, showing them and walking them through it. I think that's what's key. So I love how you're saying, yes, let's show how they can and make it fun. And so talk to us about how can we encourage more representation in STEM? And you might have hit some of that, but I'm talking about from girls to my underrepresented minorities, like representation in STEM. How can we encourage more of it in STEM?
By simply allowing access. So taking kids and exposure, access and exposure is everything. So taking kids on field trips to the Science Museum, taking kids on trips to NASA, exploring, even if it's a digital or virtual experience, having those types of connections and access. Exposure is everything when it comes to education within the fundamental skills of life. When we are, and we learned this in very early in education, and I'm not early childhood education by any means. So if I am not saying the exact term of things, somebody feel free to correct me in the comments. However, when kids are driving past McDonald's, they know those golden arches. They know it. So why aren't we doing the exact same thing as it pertains to exposing kids to mathematics and STEM? The same way they have access to McDonald's and those commercials, put those flashcards in front of them. Go over those multiplication things. Though we talk about these things as if it is antiquated and outdated and all of these different things, but it works. Sitting down with your kid at the dinner table and doing homework and those little conversations that spark interest to push them and make them persevere, it works. Taking them on a field trip and just letting them go ham, not that sitting in and just watching the stuff from afar. No, let them go explore, have fun, and then you come back and tell me what you learned. And then when you have that conversation with them, it really does ignite some sort of like inspiration in them. It's creating that that intrinsic motivation that allows them to grapple with a subject that, again, historically was once said that they weren't able to do it.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Go for Robles, it. I wish I knew you when I taught third grade. I totally agree with everything that you're saying. And when you mentioned the access, that is absolutely true. And I hosted a STEM career day for my students in elementary, which isn't usually common in the elementary space. Usually it's middle school and high school. And so I hosted that, and that actually sparked the inspiration for my podcast for kids, because after the event, it was so successful. But then I felt really sad because I knew not every school had a teacher who could put on an event like this, or even parent volunteers or any type of volunteers to be willing to present in that space. And so that really sparked this podcast for kids, where I am interviewing experts in the STEM field to help bring that access and opportunities to say, oh, I never knew I could be a forensic scientist when I grew up, or, oh, wow, I love bugs. I can be an entomologist. I didn't know that was an option for me. So I definitely agree with you. And we're so lucky with technology, and like you said, with the virtual field trips as well, that of course, hands-on and going there is super, super important, but we have our hands with technology too. And that is such a great option where kids can explore the world in new ways. So I definitely agree with you that access is absolutely important for our kids to help learn and just really discover those possibilities for them.
That's great. Great. I'm loving this collaboration. This is good. This is good. Y'all are giving, and I don't know if many of y'all saw that, but those that's putting stuff in the chat, it might cover your face a little bit. But it says, love the wisdom of this educator that embraced your learning style. So kudos. And as y'all keep saying chats, I'm going to put it in the chat and everything and put it out there for what everybody's saying. So thank y'all. Y'all have a good conversation. And we're getting closer to the end because we're getting closer to that radio station. You know, I got my 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, my normal every Wednesday, WDRB Media. And so Read the Right Radio Show. So, as we're getting closer to that, I want y'all to share, y'all have some resources. If you have some resources, this is the time to say, are there any tools you provide that you can help others as far as exposing our kids to STEM? So talk to us. Any resources or tools?
So Math and More itself is a resource because, again, we provide that small group and one-on-one tutoring services to students. And we particularly help students that identify under specialization for individualized support. For those of you who are not familiar with that, it's just a plan that helps students to learn uniquely. It's built into their education plan through their K-12 career and sometimes extended to college, depending on what their resources or needs are. So by having that as a resource and being able to sit on special education IEP meetings and 504 plans and things like that, being able to break down those jargon. So Math and More does a plethora of different things besides just providing tutoring service. That is the foundation of what we do. But we also do community events. We also help with those special education advocacy services. We sit down and explain to parents what an IEP means, because as you both know, in education, there is so many acronyms and jargon and language that parents are just like, what is this? And then they end up signing things and sending it back to the school and just like, okay, well, I'm trusting the teacher, but they don't really truly understand. So we provide those tutoring services for the student, but then we also empower parents on the back end by creating a space where they're allowed to be supported and understand what's going on, ask those tough questions. So when they go into the IEP meeting, they feel empowered, they feel like they know what's going on. And then we also lastly host community events that allow for students, families, and parents and educators to come out and grapple. And one of the major community events that we're going to be having in a couple of weeks is Pi Day. So if anybody is in the Atlanta area and want to tackle me on a Pi memorization contest, feel free to join us.
Love it. Love it. Go ahead, Naomi. Talk to us. Any resources or tools?
So I don't know how well I would do in that Pi Day memorization. So I don't live near Atlanta, so I will not be there, but I love that so much. I provide resources. So my main website is naomimeredith.com, and you can find all the things that I'm chatting about. But I have resources for teachers as well as homeschool parents. So my podcasts are a great place to start. So listening and learning on the go. So for teachers and for parents, check out the Elementary STEM Coach podcast and give you tips and tricks to help you with your STEM education along with lesson plan ideas. And then for the kiddos and families, this also works great in a classroom, but also the STEM Career Quest podcast, where, like I mentioned, where I'm interviewing people in STEM careers to help inspire what they might want to be when they grow up. I do have resources and curriculum in terms of specific lessons. So check out my website. They're all listed for you, but I have a whole comprehensive K-5 STEM curriculum that are connected to standards. So if you don't know where to start with a STEM lesson, I have that all done for you. I taught all of them within my own classroom. So they're things that students really enjoy and use a whole bunch of different materials that can help spark that imagination. So have it all for you to get started.
Love it. Love it. So as we close out, and I want to say thank y'all for jumping on to share yours. You gave some great tips, and I know that people have been listening. Tell us, how can people get in touch with you or find you? Those last words, any lasting words, this is your time. Thanks.
All right. So if anybody wants to get in touch with us or just want to connect, our website is www.more.com. Once again, that's math, the letter N, more.com. And that's also all of our social media handles. It's also in our website. So just find us on the website and you can find all of our social media handles.
Love it.
And for me, very similarly, my website is naomimeredith.com, where you'll find the links to all the things that I was chatting about. And then also very active on Instagram. So if you find me at Naomi Meredith _, you can find me there. But again, same thing. Check out my website. You'll find all the links to all the things over there.
Sounds good. Thank y'all so much for being a great guest. I'm appreciative of you. Once again, these are some of the featured highlights in the magazine. If you have not checked it out, I need you to go check it out. www.stemcrewmagazine.com. This is the opportunity. It's been released. I have added it into the thing. I'm now emailing those that's already done it. So people who signed up today that's looking for it, like, oh, but you got a chance to see the fall one. But this is an opportunity for you to check out the magazine. It's a free digital magazine. And I'll send out more, but you can get it printed as well. But thank you so much, Naomi. Thank you for Dr. Robles for talking to us and sharing with the people. And I think they've had a great opportunity to connect. So thank you so much. Y'all have a good one. All right. So I'm going to have y'all jump off and I'm going to talk to the people as I transition to my Read It Right radio show. So thank y'all for celebrating the new release of the issue. Okay.
Yeah. I'll see you back at 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So those that's still on here, this is a celebration. And if you don't know, make sure that you check out the magazine, free digital download, the STEMcrewmagazine.com is now available for download, free digital. You'll get a copy of the fall, you get a copy of the winter issue. And those were some of the highlights of our people. So if you didn't know who's featured on the cover, we actually have an astronaut who's a part of it as well. And so I wanted to be able to take this feature winter issue and be able to have some powerful, we got our powerful dynamic trailblazers, but I have Joan Higginbotham, who is our featured cover for our magazine. And she is the third African-American female astronaut to go into space, you guys. And so as we get ready to prepare for the interview, which is on the radio, so I don't have the a video for us to listen to, but I will try to let us listen to it as we do this, so you can have the opportunity to hear the interview. And if you don't know as far as where to go, there is an opportunity to listen on your own at www.readitrightshow.com, and then just click to listen live. And from there, you'll be able to listen to our conversation of the interview we're going to have with our cover feature. Yay. So our cover feature is with Joan Higginbotham. And I hope you've been able to take some notes as we share the journey of STEM and the launch of the release of the winter 2024 issue. And if you haven't checked it out yet, please check it out. It's a free digital download with our features. We have some contributing writer articles. We have the various STEM activities that have been, we always have some STEM activities that you can do at home with your kids or even at school for the educators. And so I have now just released it to those who signed up in case they don't know, but this is the opportunity for them to also get it, people who's been signing up. But the website for that is www.stemcrewmagazine.com. For now, we're going to move forward with transitioning to the Read It Right radio show.com. And if you go there, and I might try to see if I can share some screens. Maybe I'll see if I can share a screen of the Read It Right radio show. So then we can listen in as we interview with our dynamic cover. So I'm going to share a screen real quick with y'all. If you can see it, let's see here. If you do go to the Read It Right radio show, you'll see the various parts. You'll see listen live every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you'll click on the buttons. It's got various buttons. You can do WDRB Media, Tune In Radio, and then the music. So I'm going to click on WDRB Media, and hopefully you can listen in to it as well. And this will be 30 minutes of it. Okay. As we switch over to mine, which is at 5:30, so it transitions. So, so as we transition to mine, hopefully you'll be able to get on WDRB Media for the interview for it. And mine will be transitioning soon to mine's version, which you'll start seeing my version. Here you go.
to come to Florida to launch space shuttles. And I really wasn't sure about that because I really was not into the space program. But after touring the Space Center facilities and seeing a space shuttle and the launch pads up close and personal, I was all in. And that began my 20-year career with NASA.
Wow. You talk about the whole pivot and, shift and everything for that call. It was about that call, that one call that changed your life as far as the experience that you're at. It's now more than ever. So definitely never know where you're going to go, but that call made a difference. So thank you for sharing that. Now let's go into STEM advocacy. How do you actively support STEM education, which is science, technology, engineering, math, especially for our underrepresented communities?
So I support STEM education, first of all, financially, through the HBCU, the Historically Black Colleges and Universities Astronaut Scholarship Fund. And through that fund, we provide competitive scholarships to college students at an HBCU majoring in STEM fields. I'm also a mentor and advisor to the students, and some days I just lend an ear for them to be able to talk to someone. And it's really interesting. I learned a lot from them, even though technically I'm supposed to be the mentor. I think it's a relationship that helps both them and me because it keeps me current with what they're doing. And I can share with them some of the experiences that I had getting through my career.
And that's important. I think it comes along with it. You think you're just mentoring, but it brings something when you deal with a mentee and see the changes that it also can bring for you. And so definitely that's amazing. And then the financial with the HBCUs, Historically Black Colleges and Universities, the impact that you're making, I think that's amazing. When we come back, we will continue our discussion on Journey to the Stars, a STEM Odyssey. You're listening to the Ready Right Radio Show, and I'm your host, Lady T. You're tuned into WDRB Media, the voice of the community, the only station giving you double the information and inspiration. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to WDRB Media, the voice of the community, and those streaming live through free TuneIn radio app. You're listening to the Read It Right Radio Show, and I'm your host, Lady T. If you're just tuning in, we're discussing Journey to the Stars, a STEM Odyssey. Make sure to check out the STEM Crew magazine free digital copy, featuring amazing STEM Trailblazers, STEM activities, and articles, and with our guest Joan Higginbotham as the cover feature of the winter 2024 issue at www.stemcrewmagazine.com and grab that free digital magazine. Joining us in the studio today is our guest, Joan Higginbotham. She has a background in electrical engineering, is a retired NASA astronaut, and is the president of Joan Higginbotham Ad Astra LLC. Our show topic for today is Journey to the Stars, a STEM Odyssey. Now let's go into challenges and traps. Can you share a significant challenge you faced during Space Shuttle Discovery Mission, STS-116, and the most rewarding aspect of your space experience?
So Tiffany, by the time we flew, I think we were all so well trained, and I felt that I could have done all my tasks with one hand tied behind my back and partially blindfolded. You know, that's a testament to our trainers. However, during the mission, we did experience an anomaly. So there was a solar panel. It's 60 feet long and 20 feet wide, so pretty huge. It had been deployed years earlier on the exterior of the International Space Station, and that helped to supply power. And our task during that mission was to fold it up like a fan so that the crew on the mission following us could move it to another location on the space station. And obviously it's easier to move something, you know, with a 5-foot footprint instead of a 60-foot footprint. So that's why we were trying to fold it into this fan configuration. So supposedly all we had to do was flip a switch and the solar array would automatically fold into this fan-like configuration. Well, when we flipped the switch, the solar array did begin folding. However, it folded on top of itself, and that wasn't a good thing for the solar array. So long story short, the training team had to come up with a brand new procedure, test it on the mock-ups on the ground, send the procedure up to us in space, and walk us through the procedure so we could execute it in space. So the solution to the problem included a spacewalk and robotic arm operations that were not planned and for which the crew had not been trained. So therefore, we never got to practice this procedure before we launched. And I tell you, that caused just a little bit of angst amongst the crew. But again, kudos to the trainers and the ground team that came up with this really great plan, because we, the crew, executed it flawlessly. So it was a great plan, and it was great on-the-fly training. The second part, did you ask me what was rewarding about my flight? Okay, so I think besides seeing just how incredibly beautiful the Earth is from space, the most rewarding aspect of the flight were my crewmates, who were absolutely fabulous. We were quite the diverse crew. There were 2 African-American astronauts on board, the first time 2 had ever flown together. We had an astronaut of Korean and Jewish descent, one of Indian descent, the first Scandinavian astronaut of Norwegian and Swedish descent, an astronaut who was born in the United Kingdom, American citizen partially, to realize his dream of becoming an astronaut. Then we had a German astronaut, a Spanish-American astronaut, and a Russian cosmonaut, right? So we spoke 5 languages, represented 4 countries and 3 different space agencies. And we showed the world how an incredibly diverse group of people could work together for a common good while being confined to the tight quarters of a spacecraft.
That is amazing. I mean, and to show the diversity side of things, I mean, wow, I know that had to be an awesome experience. And I mean, like you said, your training was great, your trainer was great, but you never know what's going to happen. And I think that's why we go into these, go into this field with engineering and everything. You never know, STEM and everything, what might happen, but we know it's a challenge, but we're all about finding the solution. And so definitely, thank you for sharing your experiences and just how you were able to overcome and be able to share that experience with a diverse group. That's amazing. Now let's go into the representation matter. And you shared a little bit with that experience being on the shuttle. So why do you believe representation is crucial in encouraging young people to pursue STEM careers?
Tiffany, I'm going to change that question just a little bit.
Go for it.
And explain why representation is important, period. You may be familiar with Ron McNair, who's the African-American astronaut who perished in the Space Shuttle Challenger accident in 1981. So he was a graduate of North Carolina A&T University, and the university, being very proud of their alum, has named a building after Ron. And every January, the month in which the accident occurred, there is a ceremony to recognize his accomplishments and, you know, remember his ultimate sacrifice. So I attended the event one year as my husband's +1. So I wasn't astronaut Joan Higginbotham, I was Mrs. Mitchell, right? And we got on campus and, you know, we were taken to the ballroom where the event was going to be held by our host. And as we were entering the ballroom, so was Miss North Carolina A&T at the time. Her name is Diamond. And she happened to be this dual engineering major. I mean, her major was so wicked, Tiffany, I don't even remember what it was, but it was something that did not exist when I was in school. And our host had motioned over to Diamond to come over and meet us. And as Diamond got within range of us, our host said, you know, I'd like to introduce you to. And before she can finish, Diamond just blurted out. She goes, I know who this is. This is Joan Higginbotham. She's on my vision board. Now, first of all, I was floored that she even knew who I was, especially since I was incognito, right? I had on my dress clothes. I was not in my NASA flight suit. And then I was just incredibly humbled and honored that someone thought enough of me and what I've done to put me on a vision board. That's why representation is important, right? You never know whose life you may be impacting.
Man, that brought chills to me. I love it. I love it. I mean, you've made an impact. You never know what impact you're making. And like you said, that be on a vision board. I mean, you fulfilled one of her dreams or to-do list items, just like that. Right. And that's amazing.
And whoever would have thought that we would have met, right? It happened that day that we were both in the same place at the same time. And actually, to this day, we still talk. I at least try to call her every quarter and just check up on her and see how she's doing. I cherish that memory and her forever.
And you deserve it. I mean, the work that you've done, it speaks for itself, and it shouldn't be in vain. And I mean, that's just a testament of the work that you've done, that someone has acknowledged it. You never would have thought. So I love that story. I love it. I love it. After the break, we'll continue our discussion on Journey to the Stars, a STEM Odyssey. You're tuned into WDRB Media, the voice of the community, the only station giving you double the information and inspiration. Don't go anywhere, because we'll be right back.
In the sky so very dear, yeah. star. No matter who you are, shining bright to see what you can truly be. You're a shining star. No matter who you are, shining bright to see what you can truly be. You're a shining star. No matter who you are, shining bright to see what you can truly be. Shining star for you to see what your life can truly be. Shining star for you to see.
Welcome back to WDRB Media, the voice of the community, and those streaming live through free TuneIn Radio app. You're listening to the Read It Right Radio Show, and I'm your host, Lady T. If you're just tuning in, we're discussing Journey to the Stars, a STEM Odyssey. Make sure to check me out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Tiffany Teachy, and that's Tiffany with an I, for more STEM resources and tips. We've been discussing Journey to the Stars, a STEM Odyssey, with our guest, Joan Higginbotham. Now let's go into advice for future astronauts. So what advice would you give to aspiring astronauts or those interested in space exploration?
So let me first say that this is one of the best times to be in space exploration. NASA is not the only game in town anymore. There are a plethora of startups and private companies who have a hand in space exploration. And the space economy is projected to hit $1 trillion by 2040. And some people say it's going to hit by 2030. So the future for space looks really bright. My first piece of advice is to do well in school so that you can be competitive in the job market, right? Take the required technical classes, but also take English and writing and communications, and you may even want to take a marketing class so that you can effectively communicate the wonderful ideas that you're going to come up with, right? Second, I say try to participate in internships during your college career. That accomplishes two things. First, it allows the company to get to know you and your skill set, and it gets you in the door should you want to get on with that company. And you'll gain exposure to various engineering areas, which will help you determine what area of engineering may interest you, and more importantly, those that may not. The third piece of advice I would say is to explore the multitude of companies that are involved in space exploration to determine what company best fits your interest. And for those who may be interested in becoming an astronaut, keep up to date on NASA's requirement to become an astronaut. That's public information, and it can be found on NASA's website. That way, you can see if you're meeting all the requirements, and you'll know what else you'll need to do to meet the minimum eligibilities to become an astronaut.
I mean, you've given some great tips, and I hope the listeners are taking notes. I love it. I love it. Now, we sometimes have challenges. I know you mentioned how you maybe had challenges while you did this discovery, mission, but in general, with the career, your journey in this industry itself, what maybe is one of the biggest challenges you've maybe have faced with starting out with this career itself, or maybe someone you've heard that maybe have started out in this industry?
Hey, I think we've all had challenges in this industry. I would say the biggest challenge I had starting out in my career was being, and I'm going to put this in quote, heard and seen. So you have to remember, I was a young 22-year-old African-American female engineer working in a white, male-dominated space industry. Many of them had never dealt with someone like me, and I had to earn their respect by being twice as good and working twice as hard as everyone else. And eventually they came to respect me. But, that was my biggest challenge early on, just being that new kid on the block and being an unknown entity. I was the unicorn basically. And just getting people to be comfortable with me and understanding my capabilities.
I mean, that's it. Just the adjustment, the coming out as far as getting started, that's one of the key things, and that whole showing and proving that you're capable and just as smart and competent comes with it as well. So thank you for sharing that. Now, maybe what is one thing people can start on right away if interested in being in your career?
So if you want to work in the space arena, I'd suggest starting by researching companies who specialize in your area of interest, and follow them on social media so you can keep abreast of what they're doing in the industry. You might even want to reach out to someone at the company to start to cement a relationship there.
And that is great. That is it. I mean, it's all about building that network and getting to know who's doing it and how you can go about doing it. I love that. Now let's talk about any tools, with your business and company and everything, and just all that you've accomplished and stuff. Are there any tools you provide that can help with this as well?
So I think one of the best tools for that is LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. I follow people on LinkedIn. I follow different companies that I may want to solicit to see if they can use my services. I follow them on LinkedIn. So I think that's a really good tool if you're, for business aspects. So that would be my recommendation.
Okay. Well, I want to say thank you so much for being a great guest. Joan, it's an honor. I'm just excited to be able to experience this with you as far as having the opportunity to share you and your journey with the world because everybody needs to hear your story. If they don't know, now they know. And so I'm thankful for you for being a great guest. So once again, how can people get in touch with you if they want to learn more about you?
Absolutely. So my website is joanhigginbotham, all one word, .org. So joanhigginbotham.org. And I am active on LinkedIn, and I am working on getting more content on my other platforms. So I am on Instagram. I just, not a whole bunch, but I'm going to remedy that here shortly in the future.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much, Joan, for being a great guest.
Thank you so much for having me, Tiffany. I really enjoyed our conversation this evening.
Join us next week as we continue our discussion on the importance of STEM, science, technology, engineering, math. We want to thank today's guest, Joan Higginbotham, who's also the guest feature cover of the STEM Crew magazine. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Continue to tune in every Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please remember to connect with me by going to wdrbmedia.com. Click on the radio shows tab and go to the Read It Right Radio Show page. Also, if you want to be a guest on the show or want free advertisement, go to www.readitrightshow.com. And make sure you grab that free digital STEM Crew magazine with featuring our guests on the cover, Joan Higginbotham, at www.stemcrewmagazine.com. You've been listening to the Read It Right Radio Show, and I'm your host, Lady T, on WDRB Media, the voice of the community, for double the information and inspiration. Until next time, continue to be blessed. Read it right because STEM representation matters. Let's shape our future generation of STEM leaders.
I'm living my life like it's golden. 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 Golden. I'm holding on to my freedom. Can't take it from me. I was born into it. It comes naturally. I'm strumming.
LMC. All right, everyone. I hope you had a great, you was taking some notes. I mean, we got to be able to see and hear from Joan Higginbotham, retired astronaut, first ever as far as third African-American female to go into space. So it was an honor to be able to interview her on the Read It Right Radio Show. So those that's just joining us, I hope you've been able to, follow us. We had our first panelist with Naomi and Dr. Robles. And so now we're going to have some other features on here as well. So I'm excited to have them as we continue this celebration. And just in case you don't know, we are celebrating. Let me pull up my tab so you can go straight to it. It is now available. I know people were trying to download it earlier today. I saw all those coming through, but hopefully the email came while I'm going through this and it said, oh, here's the winter 2024 issue. So hopefully those that did register for today or go download it, go to www.stemcrewmagazine.com. I have updated the link. So when you click on it, you should get a copy of not only just the fall one, but you also get the winter one. And so I did it while we was going through the process because we are celebrating the release of the STEM Crew Magazine Winter 2024 issue. And so earlier we had some of our features. We had about 21 featured STEM Trailblazers. And so I'm going to bring on, if they can come on screen, I'm going to go ahead and transition them onto here. And then also I'm going to, then after we finish this, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do a flip through real quick. In case you didn't download it, you get a little snippet of it because I want you to download it so you can see these features. But we're going to go ahead and transition. I'm going to add them on. If they can join us on camera. Okay. Dr. Robles, we got Tiffany. Tiffany, yep, you're good.
Y'all see me okay?
Yeah, you're good. Let me take this off so we can see your face.
Okay.
Yeah, we're doing up and down for now. I normally do my sideways, but y'all, thank you so much for joining. LJ, you good? You get on? I hear you. Well, if you can answer while we're going through, I'm gonna keep you on this screen like this. But all right, now, Dr. Robles, if you want to go through these again, come up with a different response. We got some new faces on here now. If you don't mind.
I'm sorry, I can't see myself, so I just want to make sure I'm not too close to the camera.
Yes, pull it up some, because see, I'm up and down. I know I changed the direction. I meant to, and now I can't change it. So yeah.
Can you
go
see?
Up a little bit more. Go down.
Oh, looking like a person I don't know how to. Okay.
No, you're good. So everybody bear with us because I changed the orientation of this. Normally it's sideways, but we working through it. Let me see if I can switch. If people are joining us, we basically are bringing on our highlights from the magazine, the STEM Crew magazine. And so we're going to hear from them. I've got some questions. The same questions that I asked earlier, but I want to be able to allow them to introduce themselves. So if each of y'all could introduce yourself, tell us what you do. And we have Dr. Robles on here again because we want to hear some more. Those that, getting off work might have missed it. So we want thank you for coming back on. All right. So those that want to go ahead and say your name, what you do as well.
I reckon I'll go first. My name is Dr. Christopher Robles, formerly known as just Robles. And I am the founder and CEO of Math and More. Math and More is an acute mathematics firm aimed to debunk that myth of I'm not a math person, based right here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Love it.
And I am Tiffany Obing, author and owner of Sugar Cookie Books Publishing Imprint. And I am a passionate workforce diversity advocate using diverse children's literature as the early elementary intervention tool to influence the school to talent pipeline.
Love it. Love it. All right. I see you, LJ. Yeah, you're on here. Go for it.
Hello, I'm LJ Henderson. I'm the founder of the Little STEM Academy. I'm also a STEM educational consultant, and I've recently secured a partnership with T-Mobile to provide my STEM experiments and license them out to curriculums on devices supplied to schools nationally.
Love it. Love it. Now, I'm excited that y'all are featured and y'all doing what you're doing. Y'all are making an impact. Can y'all talk to us and tell us what inspired you to even get into the world of STEM and what got you motivated to be a part of STEM and what you do today?
I guess I can go first. My background, I'm a pediatric speech therapist by trade, and I had a 24-hour childcare center for a number of years. But during the pandemic, we had to support more school-age children, and the children that were coming to us were with us full days as opposed to just after school for a couple of hours. And I noticed a lot of gaps in their learning, particularly in science and math. And when the world was trying to figure out how to homeschool kids or how to work with the technology deficits, I started creating products to kind of beef up their math skills. But I noticed inequity even in the school district in my community. Not all schools were doing science, and not all students knew basic math and addition facts. So that was sort of how my journey began.
Love it. Love it.
Well, I journeyed into STEM. So by day, I am a practicing attorney. So I'm not in the STEM field as a worker, if you will. But I journeyed into STEM education by being a children's book author, wanting to showcase or introduce children to different careers, especially careers where Black people and women are underrepresented. And so in doing that, I started drafting Andrew Learns About Engineers, and I came across data that showed that 12% of children in general, not just Black children, but children in general, did not wanted to be engineers because they knew about it. But the problem was a lot of kids do not even know that is a potential option or opportunity for them. So I drafted Andrew Learns About Engineers and Andrew Learns About Scientists in an effort to educate and expose children to the STEM field, especially children of color and girls. I just released Ashley Learns About Engineers. So although the topic is universal, sometimes children do want to see a character that they can relate to. So I wanted to make sure that the career series was appealing to as many children as possible. And so that's how I journeyed into the STEM forum.
And for those of you that are joining us for a second time, I journeyed into STEM and math, not necessarily by choice, by first choice. It was literally the understanding that my teacher in fourth grade understood that English language arts and like reading was a deficit for me. So it was understanding that, well, how can I get him to still appeal to education? How do I get him to engage? How do I get him to still want to be an active participant in his own learning, but not shut him down because he's not necessarily reading on grade level. He's not doing what academically a fourth grader should normally be doing. So that teacher really did inspire me because it was, well, these are word problems now, and you love math, so let's figure it out. What is the question asking you? Going through those same sort of literacy nuances of understanding what is being expected of you, understanding what the question is asking. And that's how I got into math, because I was like, okay, well, I can do this. Now that you put it and present it this way, oh, this is easy. I know how to calculate this. So that's how I got into mathematics.
Love it. Love it. Now, I'm excited that y'all are part of being featured in this winter 2024 issue of the STEM Crew magazine. Can you just explain why you're excited to be featured in this new release one as well?
I think that Miss Tiffany spoke about it first. It's about representation. So I am just happy to be a representation for our Black and Brown community, and to say and to know that this is something that you can do. Again, African American, to your point, you're saying like the STEM career and all of those numbers, and I actually have the numbers because I am writing grants all the time. But 2 in 5 students that are Black and Latino say that they want to go into some sort of STEM career, but only 4% of those students actually embark on that journey because they lack the foundational skills. They don't have representation. Nobody is telling them that they can do this systematically from when they go home, and they bring their homework home from 3rd and 4th grade. They bring home a worksheet. That's the homework. And they're saying, Mom, Dad, can you help me with this homework? And they're just like, they start shaking because it's math, right? Like the parents are like, oh, I'm not a math person. Go call this person. Dial a teacher. Like they're perpetuating their fears onto the kid. So now the kid goes back to school, the homework is incomplete. Now they have a very nonchalant attitude about mathematics. They're like, all right, whatever, I'm not a math person either. And then they go through these, through their phases of their educational career. And then they say, oh, well, I'm not going to major in STEM. I'm not going to major in engineering. I'm not going to major in bioscience. I'm not going to major in these fields that require me to add, because systematically, historically, generationally, I've been told that I'm not a math person. My parents aren't math people. They weren't exposed to it. So me as an African-American male who's just completed my doctoral degree, I want to be the face of Black and Brown children to say, nope, you can do this. And you, as one of my good friends, James O'Neill, has said, you may not like math, but it's not going to be because you can't do it.
And I'm excited to be a part of STEM Crew magazine for the same reasons that were just discussed, but also I just really support or admire what Tichy is doing. I always have admired her from the sidelines. We're in the same circles and groups. And so for her to extend the platform, such as her magazine or her radio show, so that what I'm trying to do or what we're trying to do can align and be shared with others, I really appreciate that opportunity to join you on the journey of exposing, educating, and introducing kids to STEM fields and hopefully inspiring them to pursue STEM.
Oh, thank you, Tiffany. Yeah, you've been rolling with me. You've been rolling with me. So, so I'm always bringing on others. So I'm so glad that y'all are here. Y'all are just experiencing this of getting the message out here. And so I'm glad that y'all could be a part of this. Yeah, Tiffany, you've been rolling with me. I was like, you want to come on board? You got that STEM book. Come on. She's like, okay. So thank y'all for the opportunity to represent. I'm so excited that y'all are on this in this journey on this STEM Crew magazine. I mean, this is the winter edition. And so let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. How can we encourage more representation? I know some of y'all have already touched bases on it, but how can we encourage more representation in STEM?
I think to go back to what was just shared previously, I think that early introduction is the key, which is why I start with age 3. And also, I think parent involvement and parent engagement is very critical if we want kids to end up selecting STEM careers later on, because we start to lose them in elementary and they're pretty much gone by the time they get to junior high. But I think part of it is because parents are not involved, parents are not educated, and then they bring their own experiences to their children. So like if they were not good in math, quote unquote, or if they were not a science person, quote unquote, they don't feel confident or competent to teach their children. So one of the things that I try to do is a lot of parent training workshops and even working with teachers in early childhood, because a lot of times they have their own biases. They're not doing STEM projects, or they're not just exploring the world of STEM around them. So our kids really don't get STEM unless they come from a STEM family, or most of the time. So I'm trying to make certain that more early childhood providers in particular, more elementary schools, have access to STEM resources, and I try to make it easy so that I can debunk the fears so that we can actually see children choose STEM careers.
Come on, debunk the myth. I love it.
I know, right? Love it.
Yeah.
So I would also like to add to that, that again, I'm a lawyer and I always like to share the story because this drives what I'm doing with my career books. But I like to share the story that I became a lawyer, not knowing what a lawyer did and not having met a real lawyer in my real life until I was in 11th grade. And I didn't meet a female Black attorney until I was way in law school. And I just know that's way too late for us to start trying to introduce and get this idea. So for me, I didn't have to see it to be it, but so many children need to see it to be it. And so, as you just mentioned, getting that exposure as early as possible to keep them in school, to inspire them or excite them about school. If they learn or meet an engineer and become inspired by an engineer and learn that, oh, math and science is one of the or two of the subjects that they need to be familiar with, then they'll want to continue. Our hope is, and studies show, that they'll want to continue in school and do as well as they can in school. For me, I knew a little bit about writing and reading were supposed to be something that lawyers did, and so I set on excelling in writing and reading. And so just keeping them in school so that they can hopefully make it to the end place, which is the talent pipeline, or starting their own career, starting their own business, but make it to the talent pipeline so they can become successful engineers or whatever they choose to be.
Love it.
Right. I think that you ladies echo everything that I've already mentioned. Exposure, talent, having representation. And I know for me, as like I said, African-American male in this field, in the education field, where there's only 2% of us, it is even more important for students, especially my boys, to see that this is something that they can do and pursue.
That's it. That's it. All right, now let's talk about any goodies or tools or anything that y'all might have as far as resource that you want to be able to share. So are there any tools you provide that can help as far as exposing our kids to STEM?
Well, I paired up with who we call or may know as the activity author, and she created a couple of craft activities based on the book Andrew Learns About Engineers. So one of the activities she created was a traffic light. And that was because I mentioned Garrett T. Morgan, and of course he had something to do with the traffic light. And so she was able to create an activity for kids as young as 3 or 4 to be able to construct and build this I just threw it away, but this color changing light. And she also created a roller coaster, because I mentioned a roller coaster in the book. And she created a roller coaster using household materials, things found around the house. And she did it for beginner level, so the youngest of kids, and then like advanced level, so for like the earlier, maybe 3 to 5, 3rd to 5th grade. And so those are some activities that are resources that can be used in the house or in schools.
Love it. Love it. Who else wants to share some goodies and tools that you can, give to the people?
So I have what's called Little STEM Lab. So I used to have physical, like lab in a box experiments. And so it was pretty much easy, simple experiments that students could do at home or school. And I put those together for teachers because a lot of times they complain about not having the time to prep. Schools don't have an actual lab for students to go into. And so I looked at like the national science standards and then state standards, and I found the most common concepts that repeat in primary and preschool. And so I came up with an experiment for each of those. So now I provide a lesson plan, a video, and an experiment similar to what she just mentioned, using household materials mostly, or things that students can find around the house. But now, as opposed to just selling the physical products, I have a digital version of that, to where now homeschool parents can use that, school districts can use that, and all of these resources are uploaded onto a platform where they can access them at their leisure. With my with T-Mobile, when a school district provides a student with a
Uh-oh. I think the signal. Can y'all hear her?
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right, LJ, we're going to transition, but she's got some good goodies, some hands-on activities, and we're going to follow back up so we can see how to get them. So go ahead, Dr. Robles.
So Math and More itself is a resource. We provide tutorial intervention services for students who are struggling, those particularly who have individualized education plans, or those that receive specialized services. For those of you that's not in the education field, it's just an extra tool or a layer that supports students that have learning deficits. But we support all learners because we believe that all people are math people. So Math and More itself is a resource for tutorial services, but we also empower our parents. So many parents go into the school space and just don't understand the jargon of education, right? So we're educators, we're STEM people, we know these things. And it's not something that's easy for parents to grapple with. They sign a piece of paper, they sign a slip, and they send it back to the school, and they're busy with their lives. So parents who are willing to take on that journey of understanding the mathematics behind things, or maybe even understanding their students' specialized plan, at Math and More, we sit down and we support you with that. We run workshops and all of those types of things to empower parents to actually go into the classroom and feel like they are not the classroom per se, but during those meetings, they feel empowered to handle the messages and the information that's being given to them.
Love it. But while you're still there, can you share how people can get in touch with you, since you already the last, we're going to rotate it. So all of y'all talk to us. How can how can people get more information from you? How can they get in touch with you? So we'll go ahead with Dr. Robles, since you were the last one talking.
Yes, no problem. So www.math.more.com. Again, that's www.math.more.com, Math and More. And you can go to our website. All of our social media are there. Our social media handles are very similar, with the exception of Twitter. It's Math and More 1. And that's how you're able to sign up for services. We'll be offering a summer program this year, and most importantly, a very mathematical circular event right here in Atlanta, Georgia, if anybody is in the area.
Love it. Love it. Next, LJ, did you want to go?
Sure. I have my resources available on littlestemlab.com. We are Little STEM Academy on all social media platforms, with the exception of Twitter. Twitter, we're Pearland STEM, pear like the fruit, Pearland STEM. So if you want to see the great work that we're doing with children in the Houston area and how we service our community, again, you can look at our social media at Little STEM Academy. And then if you want to reach out to me for consulting or training or any STEM resources for your school or home schools, that information can be found at littlestemlab.com.
Love it. Love it. And Tiffany, go for it.
So my publishing company is Sugar Cookie Books. So on all socials, which is LinkedIn, which is Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest, it's going to be Sugar Cookie Books. It's also sugarcookiebooks.com is the website. That's where you can find all my books, which can serve as resources for organizations hoping to expose children to different careers. Currently, we have explored actors, teachers, lawyers, scientists, engineers, and we're gearing up to explore chefs. So we're also doing career workshops. And so we have our first career workshop targeted to kids 6 to 12 coming up in March. And we're really excited about teaming with other literacy foundations that share in our excitement to expose children to careers.
Love it. Well, if y'all could do one word to encourage people to go to this STEM Crew magazine and also encourage them to get into STEM, what would be one word or one phrase that you could share just in general of trying to encourage them to be a part of STEM and what we're doing? What would it be?
Mine would be fail forward. We do STEM and pencil on purpose. Nobody goes into a science, math, engineering lab with a pen. You go in with a pencil, and that's because we understand that we are going to make mistakes. So please fail forward and fail gracefully and understand that mistakes are a part of life.
I love it. Anybody wants to go next with any lasting words to encourage?
For me, the word is exposure. My mantra is children are like film, FILM. The more you expose them, the more they develop. So if we expose them to STEM, hopefully they'll develop to be STEM leaders and choose STEM careers later on. So my word is exposure.
Love it. Love it. And Tiffany, any lasting words?
Yeah, I think it's the same thing along the same lines. I always say, or I'm leading by see it to believe it, or they have to see it to believe it so they can achieve it. So I think that's lasting words. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it there.
Okay. Well, thank y'all so much. This has been a pleasure. Thank you for taking the time just to speak to the people. Y'all are representing as one of the features. We have 21 features. So 3 y'all on here. We had Naomi on earlier, and y'all have been on here to represent and at least share the excitement of celebrating the STEM Crew magazine. It is now released, everybody. So thank y'all for coming on. I'm about to just, y'all can hop off. I'm about to just switch to us, to just me sharing his lasting words as we transition out, okay? So thank y'all for getting on and joining. All right. So I hope everybody's had a great time as far as celebrating. It's been an amazing journey of, this is the winter 2021-24 issue that's been issued. So if you don't know where to go, I need you to go to www.stemcrewmagazine.com. And from there, you'll get the release of it. I've released it. I've been doing it throughout this process. People are like, oh, I've signed up early today. Well, it wasn't ready then. It was getting you ready for it. So I did send those who signed up today. You should check your email. I did put the release out there. I put the copy in there. So check your emails if you did sign up today. But if you have not signed up, it's been updated. You can now go and see the digital copy of it. www.stemcrewmagazine.com. It's amazing. It's got different 5 activities. I know Tiffany spoke to it. I meant to tell her, the author that she was talking about, as far as she was actually in the fall, she was in the fall issue. So Activity Author did it for my books as well, which is with the series, What Could I Be? STEM Careers for ATZ. She created the activities as well, and that's in the fall issue. So if you do go to www.stemcrewmagazine.com, you also get a copy of the fall issue that was done as well. And so you'll get a copy of both of those. So, and it's a free digital download. You'll get to see highlights of our different, features that you've seen, There's so many more. And also, after I get off of here, you're going to start seeing some of the videos that some of them submitted as well today. And then you'll also see, if you go to some of them, some of their featured flyers. And so you'll see all of that as we celebrate the STEM Crew Magazine Winter 2024 issue. Now, let me see if I can share screen real quick, because I want to leave a teaser. I'm not going to flip through all of them because I want you to go to and download it. So let me see if I can share screen of what it looks like when you do go to download it. And so I'm going to share screen real quick. Let's see if it'll go live. And when you do it, it should come as a full flips part of it. So let me share screen real quick, just to give you a little teaser of it. Let's see if it's on there. Let's see real quick. All right. So it's a digital one, so you'll be able to flip through it as well. So I don't know if you can see the screen, but as you saw today or heard today on my Read It Right radio show, which comes on every Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, we interviewed our cover feature. Can y'all believe it? Representing Joan Higginbotham. She's a former retired astronaut. We have so many different representation of different individuals that's making an impact. So you get to hear a little bit from me as the editor-in-chief of it. But we have so many different things as far as articles. Like I said, we'll always have some activities that they'll be able to take part in. Let's see here. So we'll have different articles just trying to talk about how it's important. You get to see different things. I'm going to flip real fast so y'all can see a little bit of it. I'm going to show everything. As you flip, you'll start seeing all the different features. So we'll have the 21 amazing STEM features. So like I said, we'll have the contributing writers and their articles in there. It's some great information. I was able to partner up with Tri Engineering. I actually was one of their speakers before. And so, the partnership and the collaboration is great. And then also, I want to put a plug in. I'm actually speaking at this North Carolina Women in Engineering Conference. So they partnered with me too. So they're in here too. So if you're in the area, I'm actually going to speak on how, you can do storytelling with the kids with your career. So I'm going in there still talking about my publishing and the journey I've done and try to get them to start thinking out the box. And so I am one of the featured speakers in here. So I have different topics. This magazine has a lot going on from different subjects and topics. But like I said, it highlights the STEM and it goes through that part of it. I'll skip over to the different activities, which is featured. Always someone who's going on YouTube where they can start seeing different exhilarating activities as far as STEM. So we've looked up different ones from that one on YouTube, and it's DY Dr. STEM Guy, that STEM Guy EDU. So he's got this been on there. So I've been able to collaborate with him and be able to see if we can get that on activities, because I try to always have that on there. So check it out. That's just a snippet. If you want to go see the features, they're in there too. But I just wanted to at least give you a little teaser of it as well. So please make sure you check out the new issue of the winter issue of it. It's worth it at the end of the day to take part in it. So if you don't have any questions, I've seen some people in the chat saying things, but hope you had a great day. Go to www.stemcrewmagazine.com, and it's amazing as far as getting the word out here about STEM. So thank you for taking part in this celebration. It has been released. When you click on the button or click on that website, www.stemcrewmagazine.com, you will get access to the winter issue as well as the fall issue as well. So thank you so much for my guests, those that were the features getting on. I appreciate them speaking some words of wisdom. So thank y'all. And that will end our stream as far as live celebration.